Close your eyes for a moment. Just for a moment. Take a deep breath in. And let it out slowly. Let the noise of the day fade away. Let the notifications, the emails, the demands of other people, and the rush of the traffic outside just dissolve. Right now, it is just you. It is just you, and the quiet rhythm of your own heart. I want you to think about something. I want you to think about that one thing you desire more than anything else in the world. You know what it is. You don't have to say it out loud. In fact, it's better if you don't. Just hold it in your mind. Maybe it is a person, a specific face you miss, a relationship you crave, a love that feels like it has slipped through your fingers. Maybe it is a number in a bank account, a sense of security that would finally let you sleep through the night without that tight knot of anxiety in your chest. Maybe it is a healing, for your body or your soul. Or maybe it is simply a need to be recognized, to be seen, to be someone who matters. Now, be honest with yourself. How does that desire feel right now? Does it feel like a warm, comforting presence? Or does it feel like an ache? Does it feel like something you have? Or something you are desperately lacking? For most of us, desire feels like a battle. We wake up every morning and we fight. We fight against our circumstances. We work harder, we grind, we hustle. We try to force doors open. We beg, we pray with desperation, we make lists, we create vision boards, and we exhaust ourselves trying to change the reflection in the mirror. And yet, for so many of us, the wall remains. The money doesn't come. The text message doesn't arrive. The healing stalls. And we are left wondering, what am I doing wrong? Why is it so easy for everyone else, but so incredibly hard for me? If you are listening to this, it is because you are tired of fighting. You are tired of pushing against a wall that won't move. You are tired of the distance between where you are and where you want to be. I have a secret to tell you. And it is going to sound strange at first. It might even make you angry, because it goes against everything the world has taught you since you were a child. The secret is this: you do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. The struggle you feel, the exhaustion, the striving, the desperate need to change things, is actually the very thing keeping your desire away from you. The harder you try to get it, the more you are confirming to the universe that you do not have it. Think about that. When you struggle to get something, you are screaming a silent message to your subconscious mind. You are saying, I don't have this. I am poor. I am lonely. I am sick. And the universe, in its infinite, impartial obedience, looks at you and says, okay. If that is what you believe you are, then that is what you shall remain. This is the great tragedy of human effort. We work against ourselves. We try to change the world by changing things on the outside, which is like trying to comb your hair by scratching the mirror. You cannot change the reflection by touching the glass. You have to change the face in front of it. This is where Neville Goddard comes in. In 1944, a mystic and teacher named Neville wrote a very small, very potent book called The Feeling is the Secret. It isn't a long book. It doesn't use complex scientific jargon. But within its pages lies a truth so sharp, so piercing, that it has the power to dismantle your entire understanding of reality. Neville didn't believe in luck. He didn't believe in a God that sits on a cloud, deciding who to bless and who to punish based on how good they've been. Neville believed that your imagination is God. He believed that the world you see with your eyes, your house, your job, your relationships, your bank account, is nothing more than your inner feelings pushed out into visible space. He taught that there is a law governing your life. A law as real as gravity. Gravity doesn't care if you are a good person or a bad person. If you step off a ledge, you will fall. In the same way, the law of consciousness doesn't care if you deserve happiness or not. It only gives you what you feel yourself to be. The title of the book holds the entire key. The feeling is the secret. Not the thought. Not the wish. Not the intellect. You can think about being rich all day long. You can repeat affirmations until your voice goes hoarse. But if, deep down in the pit of your stomach, you feel poor, if you feel the anxiety of lack, then you will remain poor. You can visualize the perfect partner for hours. But if you walk through your day feeling lonely, feeling unchosen, then you will remain alone. Because feeling is the language of the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is the builder of your reality. Tonight, In this audio experience, we are going to slow down. We are not going to rush through bullet points. We are going to sit with this truth. We are going to dissect this book, The Feeling is the Secret, not just as a text, but as a manual for your own awakening. We are going to explore the two halves of your mind, the conscious and the subconscious, and learn why they are like a captain and a crew. We are going to learn why sleep, yes, the simple act of falling asleep, is the most magical and powerful time of your entire life, and how you have been wasting it every single night. And most importantly, we are going to learn how to change the feeling. How do you feel wealthy when the bills are piling up? How do you feel loved when the bed is empty? How do you ignore the facts of your life to create a new truth? It requires a type of courage that most people do not have. It requires you to deny the evidence of your senses. It requires you to close your eyes to the world of what is, so you can awaken to the world of what can be. You are here because you are ready to stop begging life for scraps. You are here because you suspect, deep down, that you are more powerful than you have been led to believe. You are right. You are the operant power. You are the dreamer, and you are the dream. So, get comfortable. If you are lying down, relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Let the darkness of the room wrap around you like a warm blanket. We are about to step into the invisible world. We are about to learn the art of the secret. Are you ready to discover why feeling is the only thing that matters? Let's go deeper. Before we can change your life, we have to agree on what your life actually is. When you look around you right now, what do you see? You see walls. You see furniture. You see a phone or a computer. You see your hands. To your eyes, these things look solid. They look separate from you. You can touch the table, and it feels hard. You can knock on the door, and it makes a sound. It seems like the world is a stage that was built long before you arrived, and you are just an actor trying to find your place on it. But Neville Goddard asks us to look closer. He asks us to consider a radical idea: what if the world is not a stage? What if the world is a mirror? Neville's entire philosophy rests on one pillar, a foundation so strong that if you truly understand it, nothing can ever hurt you again. That pillar is this: consciousness is the one and only reality. I want you to let that sink in. Consciousness is the only reality. This means that the solid table, the empty bank account, the loving partner, or the lonely apartment, they are not facts that exist outside of you. They are simply your own consciousness, your own awareness, frozen in time. They are your inner thoughts and feelings made visible. Think of it like a projector in a movie theater. When you go to the movies, you sit in the dark and watch a story unfold on the screen. If you see a monster on the screen, you don't run up to the canvas and try to fight it. You don't try to scrub the image off the white sheet. You know, instinctively, that the image on the screen is just an effect. The cause is back in the projection booth. The cause is the film reel in the light. Your life is the screen. Your current problems are the images on that screen. And your consciousness, your deep, inner feeling of who you are, is the projector. Most of us spend our entire lives fighting the screen. We yell at the images. We try to change the people around us. We try to manipulate circumstances. But Neville tells us to stop. Stop looking at the screen. Go back to the projection booth. Change the film reel. If you change the film, the movie must change. It has no choice. But here is where it gets tricky. Here's where the secret comes in. You might say, but I think about being rich all the time. I think about being healthy. Why isn't the movie changing? This is the distinction that separates those who dream from those who manifest. There is a massive, canyon-sized difference between thinking of a desire and thinking from a desire. Let me explain this slowly, because it is the most important thing you will hear today. When you think of a rose, you are looking at it in your mind's eye. You see it as an object separate from you. You might admire it. You might want it. But you are here, and the rose is there. You are observing it. But when you think from the rose, you become the rose. You feel the velvet texture of the petals against your skin. You smell the scent surrounding you. You feel the thorns on the stem in your hand. You are no longer looking at it, you are looking from it. Neville teaches us that the universe does not hear what you want. It hears what you are. When you say, I want to be wealthy, you are confirming that you are currently poor. The feeling of wanting is the feeling of lack. And because the feeling is the secret, the universe gives you more lack. To change reality, you must enter the state of the wish fulfilled. You must dare to assume the feeling that would be yours if you already had what you wanted. Imagine for a moment that your wish came true 5 minutes ago. Let's say you wanted a promotion. Imagine your boss just shook your hand and gave you the news. The meeting is over. You are walking back to your car. How do you feel? You aren't jumping up and down screaming, "I want this." No. You have it. The desperate hunger is gone. It has been replaced by a deep, solid sense of satisfaction. A sense of relief. A quiet knowing. You might feel a lightness in your chest. You might feel a subtle smile on your face that you can't wipe off. That is the feeling. It isn't a manic, high-energy excitement. It is the feeling of naturalness. It is the feeling of acceptance. It is the feeling of thank you. It is done. Neville explains that our consciousness is divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. And the relationship between these two parts is the mechanism of creation. Your conscious mind is the gardener. It chooses the seeds. It looks at the world, it reasons, it analyzes. It decides what it wants. Your subconscious mind is the soil. The soil does not care what seed you plant. It doesn't judge. It doesn't say, "Oh, this is a poison ivy seed, I shouldn't grow this." No. The soil is impartial. If you plant corn, it grows corn. If you plant nightshade, it grows poison. It takes whatever is impressed upon it and gives it form in the world. And how do you plant a seed in the soil of the mind? You cannot do it with empty words. You cannot do it with intellectual logic. You plant the seed through feeling. Feeling is the only language the subconscious understands. When you wrap a thought in a powerful emotion, whether it is fear, or love, or gratitude, the subconscious accepts it as true. It says, "Okay, the boss feels afraid of losing his job? Then let us create the circumstances to make him lose his job." Or, "The boss feels incredibly grateful for this new relationship? Then let us move mountains to bring this person into his life." This is why the feeling is the secret. You are constantly planting seeds, every hour of every day. When you watch the news and get angry, you are planting seeds of conflict. When you envy your neighbor, you are planting seeds of lack. When you worry about your children, you are planting seeds of danger. Neville challenges us to take control of the garden. He challenges us to stop planting weeds unconsciously and start planting roses on purpose. He tells us that we must learn to discipline our feelings. We must learn to deny the evidence of our senses. If your bank account says 0, your senses say "I am broke." But Neville says, close your eyes. Go inside. Feel the reality of abundance. Feel the weight of the money. Feel the security. Live in that feeling until it feels more real than the empty bank account. If you can do that, if you can persist in that feeling regardless of the facts will crumble and reshape themselves to match your feeling. It sounds magical. It sounds impossible. But have you ever noticed that the things you fear the most often happen? That is because you felt them so intensely. You rehearsed the tragedy in your mind. You felt the stomachache of the bad news before it ever arrived. You used the law perfectly, but in reverse. Now, we are going to learn how to use it for good. We are going to learn the specific technique Neville taught to impress the subconscious mind effectively. We are going to learn why you don't need to force anything, and why the lighter the touch, the deeper the impression. We are about to enter the operating room of the mind. Now, we arrive at the heart of the mystery. We have spoken about the projector and the screen. We have spoken about the garden and the soil. But how, exactly, does the gardener plant the seed? How does the projector change the film? Neville Goddard offers us a metaphor that is as old as humanity itself, yet misunderstood by almost everyone. He describes the relationship between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind as a romance. A marriage. In this union, the conscious mind acts as the male aspect, the provider of the seed, the one who directs, chooses, and initiates. The subconscious mind acts as the female aspect, the womb, the nurturer, the one who receives the seed and gives it life and form. This is not just poetic language. It is the mechanics of creation. The conscious mind, your waking, thinking self, has the power of choice. You can choose to think about success, or you can choose to think about failure. You can choose to focus on the pain in your body, or the healing you desire. You are the captain. You steer the ship. But the subconscious mind, she is the power. She is the vast, deep ocean that carries the ship. She has no power to originate ideas, but she has unlimited power to bring them to pass. She does not argue with you. She does not look at your seed and say, "This is a bad idea." She simply says, "Yes." She takes whatever you offer her, whether it is a beautiful dream or a terrible nightmare, and she begins to knit it into the fabric of your reality. This is why feeling is the secret. You see, a thought alone is cold. A thought without feeling is like a seed left on top of the dry ground. You can say, "I am wealthy," 1,000 times a day. You can paste pictures of money all over your bedroom walls. But if you do not feel the reality of it, the seed never breaks the surface of the soil. It remains a barren intellectual concept. But the moment you wrap that thought in feeling, the moment you let yourself be emotionally moved by the idea, the seed penetrates. The marriage is consummated. The subconscious mind accepts the impression, and the creation begins. But here is the trap. This is where almost everyone fails. Because we are desperate for our desires, we try to force them. We try to use willpower. We grit our teeth and try to make ourselves believe. We try to bully the subconscious mind into submission. Neville warns us, the subconscious mind cannot be coerced. She responds only to persuasion. She responds to love. She responds to the gentle acceptance of the truth. There is a law at play here called the law of reverse effort. It sounds contradictory, but you have experienced it many times. Have you ever tried desperately to remember a name? It's on the tip of your tongue. You strain. You focus. You furrow your brow. What is his name? What is it? The harder you try, the further away it slips. Finally, you give up. You say, "It'll come to me later," and you relax. You let it go. And 10 minutes later, while you are washing the dishes, the name pops into your head. Why? Because when you were straining, when you were trying so hard, you were actually impressing your subconscious with a feeling of failure. You were screaming, "I don't know it. I don't know it." And the subconscious obediently ensured that you didn't know it. The same applies to your big desires. When you try to force yourself to feel wealthy, you are usually focusing on your lack of wealth. The effort itself implies that you don't have it. If you were holding a heavy suitcase, you wouldn't have to try to hold it, you would just feel the weight. If you were truly in love, you wouldn't have to try to feel loved, you would just rest in the knowing of it. So, how do we impress the subconscious without force? How do we plant the seed without digging up the garden? We use the power of assumption. To assume means to take upon yourself. To wear a feeling like you would wear a new coat. Neville tells us to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This doesn't mean you have to generate a high-energy explosion of emotion. Many people think feeling means jumping for joy or crying tears of ecstasy. Sometimes it does. But usually, the feeling of a wish fulfilled is much quieter. It is the feeling of relief. It is the feeling of naturalness. Imagine you have a terrible headache. You want it to go away. If the headache suddenly vanished right now, what would you feel? You wouldn't dance around the room. You would probably just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say, "Oh, thank goodness. It's gone." You would feel a quiet, washing sense of relief. That relief is the feeling you need to capture. To use this law, you must ignore the evidence of your senses. This is the hardest part. Your eyes see an empty house. Your ears hear silence. Your bank app shows a low number. Your senses are screaming, "This is reality." But you must retreat into your imagination. You must invite the feeling of the new reality into your heart. You must ask yourself, what would it feel like if I were the person I want to be? And then, you simply step into that feeling. You don't force it. You slip into it. Like slipping your hand into a warm glove. You allow yourself to believe, just for a moment, that it is true. You catch the mood. And once you catch that mood, you sustain it. You don't let it go the moment you open your eyes. You carry that subtle fragrance of success with you throughout the day. This is not fake it till you make it. Faking it is an act of the outer will, it is deceptive and exhausting. Assuming it is an act of the inner self, it is creative and restorative. When you fake it, you are hoping others believe you. When you assume it, you are persuading yourself. And once the subconscious is persuaded, once the impression is made, you can stop worrying. The seed is planted. You don't have to dig it up every hour to check if it has roots. You don't have to force it to grow. The soil knows what to do. Your job is simply to plant the seed correctly. Your job is to yield to the wish. Neville says, you must yield to the wish. Think about that word, yield. It implies surrender. You are not conquering your dream, you are surrendering to it. You are allowing it to possess you. You are allowing the feeling of having it to wash over you until you are soaked in it. But when is the best time to do this? When is the subconscious mind most open, most vulnerable, and most ready to receive your command? There is a specific gateway. A specific time of day when the door between the conscious and subconscious swings wide open. A time when you are no longer the gardener, but you become the seed itself. Most people waste this time. They use it to worry, to scroll on their phones, or to replay the arguments of the day. They unknowingly plant thorns and weeds every single night. We are going to change that. We are going to learn how to use the gateway of sleep. We have arrived at the most critical part of Neville Goddard's teaching. If you remember nothing else from this book, remember this section. Think about your day. You spend 16 or 17 hours awake. You talk, you work, you eat, you interact with the physical world. Your senses are bombarded by noise, by news, by problems. Your conscious mind is constantly on guard, analyzing, judging, and fighting. Then, you get into bed. You turn off the lights. You lay your head on the pillow. What happens next? For most of us, this is the time when the demons come out. We replay the awkward conversation we had at lunch. We calculate how much money we need for the rent. We worry about the future. We think about the person who broke our heart. We lay there, stewing in anxiety, until we finally pass out from exhaustion. Neville Goddard tells us that this habit, this simple, nightly habit, is the single greatest cause of failure in our lives. He teaches that sleep is not merely a physical recharge for the body. Sleep is a spiritual gateway. It is the door into the subconscious mind. It is the time when the male and female aspects of your mind meet. Remember the romance we spoke of? The conscious mind, the lover, and the subconscious mind, the beloved? The day is for the conscious mind. But the night belongs to the subconscious. Neville writes, sleep is the natural door into the subconscious. It is the moment when the conscious mind lays down its defenses. The analytical guard falls asleep. The skepticism fades away. And the subconscious mind opens wide to receive the impressions of the day. Whatever feeling you take with you into sleep is the seed you are planting for tomorrow. If you fall asleep feeling worried, you are commanding your subconscious, make me anxious tomorrow. Bring me more things to worry about. And because the subconscious is the faithful servant, it says, yes. If you fall asleep feeling lonely, dwelling on who is not in the bed with you, you are planting the seed of isolation. You will wake up to a world that reinforces your loneliness. But if you can master the art of falling asleep, you can master your entire destiny. Neville introduces a technique here that is so simple, yet so difficult to master because it requires discipline. He calls it the state akin to sleep. It works like this. You get into bed. You turn off the lights. You close your eyes. You let your body relax. You feel your muscles go loose. You let that heavy, pleasant drowsiness wash over you. You know that feeling, when you are not quite asleep, but you are no longer fully awake. You are floating in the space between worlds. In this state, your physical body is immobilized. You don't want to move. But your mind is still alert. This is the magic hour. This is the moment the soil is freshly tilled and ready for the seed. In this drowsy state, Neville says you must not think of your desire. You must think from it. How do you do that lying in bed? You construct a scene. A very short, very simple scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. It shouldn't be a long movie. It shouldn't be a complicated sequence of events. It should be one single action that implies success. If you want a promotion, maybe the scene is simply your boss shaking your hand and saying, "Congratulations." If you want to be married, maybe the scene is simply feeling the wedding ring on your finger. You touch it with your thumb. You feel the cold metal. You feel the solidity of it. If you want a new home, maybe the scene is the sound of the key turning in the lock of your new front door. Here is the key, You enact this scene in your imagination as if it is happening right now. You are not watching yourself on a screen. You are looking through your own eyes. You are feeling the hand. You are hearing the voice. And then, you loop it. You play this short scene over and over again. Shake the hand. Congratulations. Shake the hand. Congratulations. Shake the hand. Congratulations. You do this like a lullaby. You do it until the scene feels natural. You do it until the scene feels real. You do it until you slip from that scene directly into the depths of sleep. Why must we do this? Because in that drowsy state, the conscious mind is too tired to argue. If you are wide awake and you say, "I am wealthy," your logical mind screams, "No, you're not. Look at your bank account." But when you are drowsy, when you are drifting, the logical mind is sedated. It doesn't have the energy to fight you. You slip the wish past the guard. You drop the seed directly into the heart of the subconscious without resistance. Neville says, never go to sleep feeling dissatisfied. This is a rule you must live by. No matter how terrible your day was. No matter how many problems you have. When you cross the threshold of the bedroom, you leave the old man outside. You do not bring him into the bridal chamber of the mind. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled before you sleep. You must sleep in the assumption. Imagine what would happen if you did this tonight. Imagine if, instead of scrolling through social media until your eyes burned, you closed your eyes and constructed a scene of perfect health. Imagine you looped a scene of your doctor telling you, "It's a miracle. You are completely healed." Imagine you felt the relief of that news. You felt the gratitude. And you let that feeling of thank you be the last thing in your consciousness as you drifted into the blackness of sleep. Your subconscious mind has no choice. It works while you sleep. While you are unconscious, it is busy rearranging the universe to match the blueprint you gave it. It influences people, it moves circumstances, it creates coincidences, all to bring that seed to harvest. You wake up in the morning, and you might not see the change immediately. But the seed is planted. And if you do not dig it up by doubting it, it will grow. This is the discipline. It takes effort to focus a tired mind. It is easier to worry. It is easier to let the mind wander. But you are not here because you want what is easy. You are here because you want to change your life. Your sleep is your superpower. Every night, you are given a free pass to rewrite reality. Every night, you return to the projection booth. Stop wasting it. Stop using your sleep to reinforce your nightmares. Start using it to dream your heaven into existence. But there is more. Neville tells us that this technique isn't just about sleep. It is about a state of mind we can access even during the day. It connects to a practice that many religions talk about but few understand: prayer. Prayer is not begging. Prayer is not asking a distant God for a favor. Prayer, according to Neville, is the art of believing that you already have what you seek. Let's explore how to bring this power into your waking hours, and how to pray in a way that actually works. Let's step out of the bedroom now. Let's step into the light of day. We have talked about sleep. We have talked about the subconscious. But what about prayer? For millions of people, prayer is a source of comfort. But for millions more, it is a source of profound confusion and heartbreak. How many times have you prayed for something? Truly prayed? Maybe you were on your knees. Maybe you were crying in your car. Maybe you were whispering into the dark. You asked for help. You asked for the pain to stop. You asked for a sign. And you heard nothing. The silence that follows a desperate prayer can be the loudest, most painful sound in the world. You wonder, is anyone listening? Am I doing it wrong? Did I not have enough faith? Neville Goddard offers us a radical answer. He suggests that the reason so many prayers go unanswered is that we have misunderstood what prayer actually is. We have been taught that prayer is asking. We have been taught that prayer is petitioning a higher power to change our circumstances. We act like beggars standing at the gate of a palace, hoping the king will toss us a coin if we ask nicely enough. But Neville says, no. That is not prayer. Prayer is not asking for what you want. Prayer is accepting what you want. There is a verse in the Bible that Neville quotes constantly. It is from the book of Mark, chapter 11, verse 24. It says, "Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them." Listen to the grammar of that sentence. It is very strange. Believe that ye have received them. Past tense. It does not say, believe that you will receive them. It says, believe that you have received them. This is the secret code. Effective prayer is not a request for the future. It is an acknowledgement of the present. It is the art of aligning your imagination with the reality that already exists in the invisible realm. Think of it like a radio. Right now, in the room where you are sitting, there are hundreds of radio stations playing. There is classical music. There is jazz. There is talk radio. There is rock and roll. You cannot hear them. You cannot see the radio waves. To your senses, the room is silent. But if you turn on a radio and tune the dial to 98.5, suddenly, the music fills the room. Did you create the music? No. The music was already there. You simply aligned your receiver with the frequency of the broadcast. Your desire, whether it is health, wealth, or love, is like that music. It is already broadcasting. It already exists in the vast, infinite mind of God. You don't have to create it. You don't have to beg for it to be created. You simply have to tune your consciousness to the frequency where that reality is playing. This is what true prayer is. It is the act of tuning the dial. So, how do we tune the dial? We do it by shutting out the static of the outside world. Neville calls prayer the illusion of sleep. Even in the middle of the day, you can enter this state. You can close your eyes. You can withdraw your attention from the problem. You can stop looking at the empty bank account or the medical report. You cut the wire of the senses. And then, in the quiet of your own inner cathedral, you perform the act of imagination. You yield to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is where the emotional alignment happens. You cannot fool the universe. If you are praying for money, but your underlying feeling is I am so afraid of being broke, then you are tuned to the station of fear. And the universe will play you more fear. If you are praying for love, but your underlying feeling is I am so lonely, you are tuned to the station of loneliness. To pray effectively, you must move from desire to gratitude. Think about the difference. Desire feels like an itch. It feels like reaching for something you can't quite touch. It is tense. It is restless. Gratitude feels like a deep exhale. It feels like settling into a soft chair. It is the feeling of it is done. When you truly assume the state of the wish fulfilled, the desire disappears. You can't desire what you already have. If I hand you a glass of water, you no longer desire the water, you simply hold it. You possess it. So, the sign that your prayer has been heard is that you no longer feel the desperate need to pray for it. You feel a quiet confidence. You feel a sense of peace. You feel like saying, thank you. Neville tells us that we must act as if the prayer has already been answered. This requires a tremendous amount of trust. It requires you to be absent from the body and present with the Lord. Let's try a mental experiment right now. Think of a problem you are facing. Just one. Now, imagine that a year has passed, and that problem was solved perfectly. It's ancient history. You are looking back on it as a distant memory. How does that feel? Do you feel the knot in your stomach loosen? Do you feel your shoulders drop? Do you feel that slight lightness in your breath? That sensation, that physical shift in your body, is the prayer. You didn't use words. You didn't beg. You simply moved your consciousness to the place where the solution exists. Neville warns us not to worry about how the answer will come. The how is not your business. The how belongs to the wisdom of the subconscious. Maybe you need money. You assume the feeling of security. You don't need to figure out if the money comes from a lottery win, a raise, a tax refund, or a gift. If you try to dictate the how, you are messing with the signal. You are trying to tell the radio station how to play the song. Just tune in. Hear the music. Feel the reality. This type of prayer, this imaginative immersion, is the most creative force in the universe. It is how artists create masterpieces. It is how inventors create new technologies. And it is how you will create the life you were meant to live. But be careful. Because this law works both ways. We are constantly praying, whether we realize it or not. When you call your friend and complain about how terrible your life is, you are praying. You are immersing yourself in the feeling of misery. You are tuning your dial to the Misery FM station. And the subconscious says, Amen. So be it. When you worry about your children getting sick, you are visualizing illness. You are feeling the fear of it. You are praying for sickness. Neville invites us to take responsibility for our inner conversations. He asks us to stop the unconscious negative prayers and start consciously directing our imagination toward the good. He asks us to live in a state of the answered prayer. Not just for 5 minutes in the morning, but to carry that mood, that secret perfume of success, with us as we walk down the street, as we buy groceries, as we wash the dishes. To walk through the world as if you are already the person you want to be. If you can do this, if you can hold this invisible feeling despite the visible chaos, then the world must reshape itself around you. The walls will move. The doors will open. The people will appear. It is not magic. It is law. But seeing is believing, right? Or is believing seeing? Let's look at what happens when real people apply this. Let's look at the stories of those who dared to test this law against the hardest odds. Because it's one thing to hear the theory, it's another thing to see the results. Theory is beautiful. Philosophy is comforting. But there comes a moment in the middle of the night, when you are staring at the ceiling, where you don't want philosophy. You want proof. You want to know, does this actually work? Has anyone truly stared into the face of impossible odds, closed their eyes, changed their feelings, and watched the mountain move? The answer is yes. Neville Goddard didn't just teach from a podium, he was a collector of stories. He called them case histories. He spoke to ordinary people, housewives, soldiers, businessmen, actors, who took these strange tools of imagination and sleep, and used them to dismantle their problems. I want to share a story with you. It is a story Neville often told, and it perfectly illustrates how the law of feeling works in the messy, real world. Imagine a woman. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah was living in a situation that many of us would recognize. She was trapped. She lived in a small, cramped apartment in a city that felt too loud and too expensive. The walls were thin. The neighbors were noisy. Every day, she walked into that apartment and felt a heavy blanket of depression settle over her shoulders. She hated her furniture. She hated the view from the window. She felt stuck. She desperately wanted a new home. She had a specific vision in her mind, a charming house with a large window looking out onto a garden, a quiet street, and plenty of light. But there was a problem. A very big, very real problem. She had no money. Her bank account was empty. Her income was barely covering her current rent. To the logical mind, her desire was laughable. A real estate agent would have laughed her out of the office. The facts of her life screamed that she would be in that cramped apartment forever. But Sarah had learned the secret. She knew that she could not change her bank account by worrying about it. She knew she couldn't force a move on the outside. So, she decided to move on the inside. Every night, Sarah went to bed in her cramped, noisy apartment. But she did not fall asleep there. As she lay down, she closed her eyes and constructed a new reality. In her imagination, she was lying in a different bed. She was in the bedroom of her dream house. She imagined looking out the window and seeing the garden, not the brick wall of the alley. She imagined the silence of the quiet street. She didn't just think about the house. She slept in it. She would run her hand over the imaginary sheets and feel the texture. She would take a deep breath and smell the scent of the garden. She would say to herself, "Thank you. Isn't this beautiful? I love living here." She did this every single night. For a while, nothing happened. She would wake up in the morning and open her eyes to the peeling paint and the noise of the city. It would have been so easy to give up. It would have been so easy to say, "This is stupid. I'm lying to myself." But she persisted. She refused to accept the evidence of her senses. She kept sleeping in the dream house. Then, the bridge of incidents appeared. This is a phrase Neville uses to describe how the universe delivers your desire. It rarely drops out of the sky like magic. It usually comes across a bridge of events that seem natural, sometimes even coincidental. One day, Sarah was invited to a small social gathering she didn't really want to go to. She almost stayed home. But she went. At the party, she struck up a conversation with a man she had never met. They started talking about the city, about architecture. Suddenly, the man said, "You know, it's the strangest thing. I have a property, a lovely house with a garden, that I need to find a tenant for immediately. I'm moving overseas for business, and I don't care about the rent. I just want someone who will love the house and take care of it." Sarah's heart stopped. She went to see the house the next day. It had the large window. It had the garden. It was the house she had been sleeping in for weeks. The man offered it to her for a fraction of its market value, an amount she could easily afford. She moved in within the month. To the outside world, it looked like luck. It looked like a happy coincidence. Her friends probably said, "Wow, you were in the right place at the right time." But Sarah knew the truth. She knew she had visited that house every night in her imagination. She had already moved in. The physical world simply had to rearrange itself to match her and her address. That is the power of the feeling. Let's look at another example, one that deals with something even more personal: identity and employment. There was a man who attended Neville's lectures who was unemployed. He had been out of work for a long time. He was running out of money, but worse than that, he was running out of dignity. He felt useless. He felt unwanted. Every time he went to a job interview, he carried that heavy, dark cloud of "I am unemployed" with him. And, of course, no one hired him. People can smell desperation. The subconscious mind of the interviewer reacted to the subconscious feeling of the applicant. This man decided to test the law. He didn't update his resume. He didn't frantically call everyone he knew. Instead, he changed his feeling. He sat alone in his room and asked himself, "How would I feel if I had a tremendous job earning a large salary? How would I feel right now?" He realized he would feel secure. He would feel important. He would feel busy. So, he began to enact a scene in his mind. He imagined receiving his first paycheck. He visualized the piece of paper in his hands. He looked at the numbers. He felt the paper between his fingers. He felt the surge of relief and pride. But he went further. He imagined meeting a friend on the street. In his imagination, the friend asked, "How are you doing?" And the man replied, with total confidence, "I have a wonderful job. I am doing so well." He repeated this scene over and over until the feeling of being employed was more real to him than the reality of sitting in his empty room. 2 days later, he was sitting in a bank lobby, handling some minor personal business. A stranger approached him, a man who had mistaken him for someone else. They cleared up the confusion, but they started talking. The stranger was a wealthy businessman. He was so impressed by the man's demeanor, his confidence, his air of security, his lack of desperation, that he asked, "What do you do for a living?" The man, still living in his imagination, smiled. Within 20 minutes, the businessman had offered him a position managing a large estate. The salary was higher than the one he had imagined on the check. The job came from a case of mistaken identity in a bank lobby. A coincidence? Neville would say there are no accidents. The man had changed his frequency. He was broadcasting the signal of success, and the universe had to find a receiver that matched that signal. If it hadn't been the man in the bank, it would have been someone else. The how didn't matter. The who didn't matter. The feeling was the cause, the job was the effect. These stories are not miracles. They are mechanics. They show us that the wall between you and your desire is paper thin. It is made only of your current mood, your current self-concept. The woman didn't need to win the lottery to get the house, she just needed to live in it mentally. The man didn't need to beg for a job, he just needed to accept the feeling of being employed. In both cases, they ignored the facts. They ignored the empty bank account and the rejection letters. They dared to assume that their imagination was the true reality. And because they did not waver, because they slept in the wish fulfilled, the bridge of incidents appeared and carried them across. You might be listening to this and thinking, that's great for them. But my situation is harder. My situation is more complex. I promise you, it is not. The law of gravity doesn't find a feather easier to lift than a stone. It just acts. The law of consciousness doesn't find $1 million harder to manifest than a cup of coffee. To the infinite mind, there is no big or small. There is only it is so. The only difficulty lies in your own mind. The only struggle is your own ability to persist in the feeling when the world tells you otherwise. So, how do you do this? How do you take these stories and turn them into your story? How do you apply this tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off and the problems of the day come rushing back? We are going to break it down. We are going to look at a daily routine, a way of living, that keeps you on the bridge. So, here we are. We have talked about the night. We have talked about the silence of the bedroom and the magic of the drowsy state. But now, we must face the sun. You cannot stay in bed forever. Eventually, the alarm rings. The sun comes up. You have to go to work. You have to deal with traffic. You have to pay bills. You have to talk to people who might irritate you. The biggest question I hear from people studying Neville Goddard is this: I can feel the wish fulfilled at night, but how do I hold on to it during the day? How do I stop the world from knocking me off balance? It is a fair question. The world is loud. It is persistent. It wants to pull you back into the old story. Neville calls this the discipline of the mental diet. Just as you watch what you put into your stomach because it affects your body, you must watch what you put into your mind because it affects your life. Most of us are mentally sloppy. We let any thought walk into our living room with muddy boots on. We entertain arguments in our heads. We replay insults. We have imaginary confrontations with our boss while we are showering. Neville says, stop. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. Every single thought you accept, every single mood you entertain, is an investment. You are either investing in your future success, or you are investing in your future failure. So, how do we live this law practically, from morning until night? Let me walk you through a day in the life of a conscious creator. It starts the moment you wake up. When you first open your eyes, there is a split second before the weight of the world crashes in. In that split second, you have a choice. Most people wake up and immediately check their phone. They flood their brain with news, emails, and problems. They put on the heavy coat of their old identity. Ugh, it's Monday. I'm tired. I have so much to do. Don't do that. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, keep your eyes closed for just 2 minutes. Do not reach for the phone. Instead, reach for the feeling. Remember the scene you fell asleep with? Remember the relief? Summon it back. It's like putting on your clothes for the day, but you are putting on a mood. Say to yourself, something wonderful is going to happen to me today. Wear that feeling of expectation. Then, get up. As you move through your day, your job is to monitor your inner conversations. Neville teaches that our inner speech is the cause of the circumstances of our life. If you pay attention, you will notice that you are constantly talking to yourself. What are you saying? Are you complaining? This line is too long. He never listens to me. I'm never going to get this done. These inner mutterings are not harmless. They are orders. You are barking orders at your subconscious to create more long lines, more people who don't listen, and more stress. When you catch yourself in a negative spiral, you must intervene. You don't have to fight the thought. Just stop it. Cut the wire. Neville suggests a technique called investing your thoughts. Instead of spending them. When you worry, you are spending energy. When you imagine the best for yourself and others, you are investing. If you see a friend, don't just say hello. In your mind, silently congratulate them on their success. See them as happy. See them as wealthy. It costs you nothing, but that silent blessing echoes back to you. You cannot wish good for another without claiming it for yourself, because there is only one mind. But what happens when things go wrong? Because they will. You will get a parking ticket. You will have an argument. You will get a bill you didn't expect. The natural reaction is to explode. To get angry. To feel victimized. Neville asks us to do something very difficult: do not accept it as final. This brings us to one of the most powerful tools in the Neville Goddard toolkit. It is a technique that can literally change the past. He calls it the pruning shears of revision. Imagine a gardener. If he sees a branch growing in the wrong direction, he doesn't cry about it. He cuts it. He prunes it so the plant grows the way he wants. You can do this with your day. Let's say you had a terrible meeting at work. Your boss yelled at you. You felt small and humiliated. If you go to bed with that memory, you are planting the seed of humiliation. You will grow more of it tomorrow. So, you must revise it. At the end of the day, before you start your sleep technique, review your day. Go back to that meeting in your mind. But this time, rewrite the script. In your imagination, replay the scene. But this time, The boss didn't yell. This time, the boss smiled. This time, the boss said, "Great job. Thank you for your hard work." Play this new scene over and over until it feels real. Until the sting of the anger fades away and is replaced by the feeling of relief. You might say, "But that's lying. That's delusional. He did yell at me." To your physical memory, yes. But to your spiritual future, no. By revising the past, you change the seed. You neutralize the poison. You are telling your subconscious, "This is what I choose to remember." And remarkably, the subconscious will accept the edit. You will wake up the next day without the heavy baggage of that anger. And often, you will find that the boss's attitude toward you mysteriously shifts. You change the cause, the effect must change. This is how you apply the law daily. 1. Morning, set the mood before you check the world. 2. Midday, watch your inner speech. Stop the complaints. Bless the people you meet. 3. Evening, revise the bad parts of the day. Prune the weeds. 4. Night, fall asleep in the assumption of your wish fulfilled. It sounds like a lot of work. And in the beginning, it is. It requires vigilance. It requires you to be awake in a world of people who are asleep. But think about the alternative. The alternative is to be a cork bobbing on the ocean, tossed around by every wave, every headline, every mood of every person you meet. The alternative is to be a victim of circumstance. You are not a victim. You are a creator. You have the power to select your reality. But you must select it. You must choose it, not just when it is easy, but when it is hard. Especially when it is hard. Neville says, "You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it." Your refusal. Today, stop refusing. Today, accept the greatness that is trying to emerge through you. Walk through your grocery store like a king or a queen. Drive your car with the dignity of someone who has already arrived. Don't wait for the world to give you permission to feel good. Give it to yourself. And as you practice this, as you begin to prune the day and plant the night, you will feel a shift. The desperation will vanish. The anxiety will quiet down. You will stop chasing, and you will start attracting. You will realize that the secret was never about getting things. It was about remembering who you are. We are coming to the end of our journey now. We have one final moment together. A moment to seal this knowledge into your heart. A moment to send you off into the night with a new power. We have reached the end of the book. But we have not reached the end. In truth, we have only just arrived at the beginning. For the last 40 minutes, we have walked together through the architecture of your mind. We have explored the garden of the subconscious. We have stood in the projection booth of reality. We have learned that the world, which seems so hard, so stubborn, so unyielding, is actually malleable. It is soft. It is waiting for the imprint of your feeling. You have the knowledge now. You know the secret. But knowledge, by itself, is only a potential. It is like a map in the pocket of a man who is lost in the woods. The map is useless unless he takes it out, reads it, and begins to walk. Neville Goddard left us this book not to entertain us, but to awaken us. He wanted you to realize that you are not a cork bobbing helplessly on the ocean of fate. You are the ocean. You are the tide. You are the deep, silent power that moves the waves. I want you to take a moment, right now, to feel the gravity of what this means. If it is true, if it is really true, that your imagination creates your reality, then there is nothing you cannot be. There is no past mistake that can define you. There is no diagnosis that is final. There is no bank balance that is permanent. There is no heartbreak that cannot be healed. The story you have been telling yourself about who you are, about your limitations, your failures, your bad luck is just a story. It is a film you have been running in the projector for too long. You have the power to stop the film. You have the power to burn the reel. Tonight, you have a choice. You can turn off this audio, go back to your old life, and let the world dictate how you feel. You can wake up tomorrow and react to the news, react to the weather, react to the people who annoy you. You can continue to be a sleepwalker. Or, you can accept the invitation. You can dare to believe that you are greater than your circumstances. You can dare to close your eyes to the facts, and open them to the truth. It requires courage. I won't lie to you. It is the bravest thing a human being can do. To stand in the middle of a storm and say, I feel peace. To stand in the middle of lack and say, I am abundant. To stand in the middle of loneliness and say, I am loved. The world will call you crazy. Your logical mind will try to talk you out of it. It will scream, look at the reality. Look at the facts. But remember the secret, feeling is the one and only reality. The facts are just echoes of yesterday's feelings. Do not fight the echo. Change the voice. Tonight, when you go to bed, you have an appointment. You have an appointment with your future self. You have an appointment with the God within you. Don't stand him up. Do not drift into unconsciousness thinking about your problems. Do not waste the most holy hour of the day on worry. Slip into the sheets. Feel the warmth. Close your eyes. And then, gently, softly, invite the feeling of your wish fulfilled to come to you. Do not strive. Do not strain. Just yield. Yield to the beauty of your dream. Allow yourself to feel the relief of it. Allow yourself to feel the joy of it. Let it wrap around you like a warm blanket. Sleep in that feeling. Trust the feeling. And know, with absolute certainty, that while you sleep, the ancient, invisible machinery of the universe is turning. The bridge is being built. The way is being prepared. You don't need to know how. You don't need to know when. You only need to know who. And the who is you. You are the dreamer. And the dream is real. Sleep well. The feeling is the secret.